Welcome to Star Trek Wars, your official bootleg Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeremy, and the battle for podcasting has begun. Joining me tonight, because I'm through running from this bastard, it's Jordan. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, Jeremy, and I want to let you guys know I've reached the limits of my genetic manipulation.
Okay. Thanks for letting us all know. You look great.
Yeah. Thank you.
What have you done with your skin? What's your routine?
And my skin stretched.
Oh, cool.
At the sauna.
To my left, I never kissed her with a beard before. It's my wife, Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea.
Hey, guys.
You've always had a beard.
She hasn't.
Hey!
Watch it.
She called her? It's already going horribly.
With a voice as smooth as an android's bottom, it's Leta. Hello, Leta.
Oh, hello. I have been practicing my flesh stretching services, so hit me up after if you need a tune-up.
The very fact that we have mentioned that 3 times will in no way cancel out what I'm about to say in the next introduction. Next up, our chief medical officer, and I'm going to miss those skin stretching sessions. It's Joselyn. Hello, Joselyn.
Hello, Jeremy. Yes, this podcast is doing wonders for my skin. Also, I've noticed, I've only been here like 2 minutes, and already I feel like my boobs are getting firmer. Has anybody else noticed this?
I have.
I thought so. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah. Of course.
Very good. And finally, he's a few weeks into his first year at college, and that makes me feel like a wrinkled old Sona. Doesn't help that my forehead bleeds every time I sneeze. It's my teenage son, Connor. Hi, Connor.
Hi, guys. How's the weather? Oh, it's warming.
What? You're stammering? You're asking about the weather? You're sneezing on Mike? Oh, no. Connor's podcasting protocol is offline. Well, I need to reboot him by using his love of theater. A British tar is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird. His energetic fist should be ready to resist a dictatorial word. His nose should pant,
And his lips should curl.
his cheek should flame,
And his brow should furl.
his bosom should heave,
And his heart should glow.
and his
fist be ever ready for a knockdown blow.
His nose should pant, and his lips should curl, his cheek should flame, and his brow should furl, his bosom should heave, and his heart should glow.
And his fist be ever ready for a knockdown blow. His eye should flash with an inborn fire, his brow with scorn be wrung. He never should bow down to a domineering frown or the tang of a tyrant tongue.
His foot should stamp,
And his throat should growl,
his hair should twirl,
and his face should scowl,
eyes should flash,
and his breasts protrude, and this should be his customary attitude.
What a wonderful world.
Okay.
Of the colors of the rainbow.
Hey, Connor's back.
Hi.
Hey, Connor.
Where am I?
Very good.
You're here at Star Trek Wars.
Hey,
When you're here, your family.
donate to our Patreon.
The Olive Garden of podcasts.
Oh, it's good to have everybody here. The movie we're reviewing tonight will be rated on a scale from 1 to 10 by us, the co-hosts. And you guys in the Star Trek Wars Council left a rating on our Facebook page. If you wish to join the council and have your vote counted, head over to that page. You can find us by searching for Star Trek Wars. The council should pop up right at the top. There you can rate the movies and new Trek episodes yourself. You can also leave a comment that'll be potentially read on air. It's a great community. We're all on there, very active, and love talking Trek with you. The council also does a movie follow-up roundtable podcast hosted by senior council member James King. Those released a couple weeks after ours premiere. If you're interested in participating in any of those future movie roundtables, contact us through that Facebook page. But in the meantime, we are reviewing the 9th Star Trek film. So let's get started. Computer, run synopsis.
We can't find any other way to do this.
Then the sonar can establish a separate colony on the planet until we do.
It would take 10 years of normal exposure to begin to reverse their condition. Some of them won't survive that long. Besides, they don't want to live in the middle of the briar patch. Who would?
The Baku.
Star Trek Insurrection, released on December 11th, 1998. Screenplay by Michael Piller, directed by Jonathan Frakes. As the Dominion War ravages the Alpha Quadrant, an idyllic planet in the middle of an unstable region within Federation space serves as home to the peaceful Baku and a veritable fountain of youth. When the Sona and the war-torn Federation plan to exploit the planet in order to rejuvenate themselves, Captain Jean-Luc Picard and the crew of the Starship Enterprise must rebel against the orders of the Federation Council in order to save the Baku and expose the atrocities that are about to take place.
All right, thank you, Barbara Whipple, for that synopsis. Let's go around the table for our initial reactions. I have a feeling it's going to be mixed. We'll see. Chelsea, let's start with your initial reaction on Star Trek Insurrection.
Okay, so I went into this so prepared to hate it because of our dearest Connor trash-talking it for 90% of his young life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So when I actually started watching it, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would, but here we are.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea. Leta, initial reaction.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same as Chelsea. I hadn't watched it in a while and didn't think it was that great, but I really had fun watching it. And no, it wasn't the best, but I had fun watching it, and that's kind of nice.
Okay. That is nice.
Next.
Connor, longtime basher, but I don't know if you just watch Red Letter Medias or the memes. You've actually watched the movie.
I watched this a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I did not care for it.
We know.
And now, wait for it. I did not like this movie. And I will say this. I appreciate the kind of intellectual kind of diversity in our community because we all seem kind of split on this movie. And I'm always glad that other people can enjoy works I do not. That being said, I did not like this movie at all. But I went into it with an open mind. And just like that mountain bird, I want to be free. But I do like Gilbert and Sullivan, though, so this movie gets a 10 from me.
Okay, well, it's a little early for our review, but thank you, Connor, for that.
That's it, folks. I'm leaving.
For that
I've done my part.
peek. Joselyn, what are your initial reactions?
I have no memory of watching this movie previously, so I went in just like no expectations at all. And I think this is one of the best episodes of Star Trek TNG that they ever made. As a movie, it feels a little low stakes. Like, I get that they can't save Earth every single movie, but maybe something more than like 600 Space Amish and like the ethical demise of Starfleet, like conceptually. That being said, I really kind of enjoyed it. It was very, very TNG. It was just like a lengthened out episode, and that, I think, is what I responded to more than like anything else. So I liked it kind of a lot.
I knew all of you would betray me. Would it be you, Judas?
Well, let's find out. Jordan, initial reactions.
Well, first, just want to clarify, when you said you never kissed Chelsea with a beard, I thought you meant yourself, Jeremy, not Chelsea having a beard. So I thought it was weird because you've always had a beard. Anyways, I did watch this on Star Trek Day. So my Star Trek feelings were like elevated. So it may have increased my enjoyment of this film. Jocelyn kind of stole my thunder because I say it was nice to take a break from the movies to watch a 2-part episode. And I think that's a lot of people's feelings about Insurrection. And it's kind of crazy, like when we talk about the budget for this film, is considerably higher than First Contact, and you would not know it by watching it.
Oh.
So it is, like Jocelyn said, it's kind of true to the heart of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's kind of a tussle on a planet. Picard has to have this engagement on the ship where he's talking to delegates that he clearly does not want to be talking to. And then some like weird love story ensues. And then the Federation is evil and there's a bad admiral. So like it's very Star Trek, and they kind of talk their way out of things until they kill someone, but we'll get to that. But no, I enjoyed this film more than I thought, and I think Insurrection definitely benefits from me not having seen it in 10 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a film you go back and watch over and over again, but every now and again, I think it can surprise you, and this probably might be the second best Next Generation film. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll find out. What about you, Jeremy?
Well, I can see where you're coming from, Jordan. Watching Insurrection on Star Trek Day, definitely feeling nostalgic tendencies, sir. So that should definitely help with that. It's also been maybe a decade since I've watched this, and it's much better than I remembered. It doesn't touch First Contact for me personally, but I certainly think it's a better outing than Generations. So we have one more to watch, but I might be in line with you on Jordan with this. Is definitely possibly the second best next-gen movie for me as well. All right, let's get into our 3 pros segment. Chelsea, let's start with you. Hit us with those 3 pros.
Okay. I love that Worf just straight up refuses to sing with Picard when they're trying to, like, I don't know, reprogram Data or whatever the hell they're trying to do there. Because, like, that's the kind of insubordination that I live for. Just like, no, I'm not doing that, and you can't make me. Like, fuck all the way off. No.
Sing Wolf.
I thought that was great. And I also love that he just assumes that Picard's asking if he's met the new crew members. Like, that's just immediately where his head goes. I don't know. I thought Worf was pretty great in this. The whole, like, ending part where they're shooting up, like, the Sona ship and they confuse... I know this isn't his name, but it's what it sounded like every time they said it.
Sure.
When they distracted Falafel. I swear to God, I thought that's what I heard. And Jeremy explained it like 4 times, and I'm still like, no, I'm just hearing Falafel. So that's his name now.
It doesn't help that when he screams.
Make me so hungry.
It doesn't help that when he screams, jelly comes out of his forehead. So maybe that was the confusion.
So,
yeah, his face kind of looks like a falafel.
A jelly falafel.
Yeah. So Falafel, like when they confused him and then they beamed him out and he was like in the hollow ship. I thought that was really cool because, I mean, I know I'm not like a huge Star Trek fan, so maybe this isn't a popular opinion, but in the past, the way they resolve issues in movies are just kind of boring to me. This was actually a little clever, and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Also, really, really love that the first thing Data does is walk over to Worf and ask him if he feels like his boobs are firming up. Like, he tries his best to be a good humanoid something, but, like... Worf is literally talking about how he's craving blood, and you're like, yeah, but do you feel like your boobs are firming up a little bit? Like,
Data's asking the hard
like,
question.
Read the room, Data. Like, do better, my guy. Like, holy shit. I don't even know.
Are your boobs firming up?
Like,
we report, you decide.
It's I don't know. So those are my top 3 pros.
Very good. Thank you, Chelsea. Leta, you got some 3 pros.
Yeah. My favorite part of the whole movie was when Picard apparently slows down time with his mind after he rocks this lady's world. That was like actually confusing, right? Like I need more of an explanation, but it was hilarious and mystical, and I don't know. I that was one I couldn't figure out if it was a pro, con, or a neutral zone, but it's a pro because it was so weird and I liked it. Also, just Picard in general, thirst trapping us the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like by this waterfall thinking it's Ryza, just like having a great time while this world's being threatened. And who knew? The uniform undershirt unbuttoned so far. Not me. Also, Riker and Deanna. They were so happy and wonderful. And I'll always fangirl over their relationship. Imzadi, everything, all day. I just kind of wish it was more of just them in the whole movie. I guess that's 3. I have more for later.
Very good. Thank you, Leta. Connor, 3 pros.
Okay. So number 1, I really love the cinematography in this movie. This may feel like an episode of TNG, but it certainly does not look it. The sets and in that same vein, like the sets and the costumes and even some of the makeup are just really, really good because I actually have more than a shoestring budget for this movie. But I think Jonathan Frakes did a fantastic job at directing this picture. I did like some of the character stuff in this movie. I particularly standouts were Data and of course Picard. Data as a flotation device is just so funny. He had some good interactions with that annoying latchkey kid. I really did like Brett Spiner in this movie. I thought he was pretty fantastic. Picard had some even in the weakest kind of productions that he's in, I always feel like Patrick Stewart just elevates the material. And just when he's talking to so you heard Falafel, I kept hearing Rufio, and unfortunately Picard did not crow once in this, so I'm gonna cry a little bit, but I'll just eat some imagination paste afterwards to feel a bit better. But when he was talking to Rufio's kind of like henchman guy, Balafel, I don't know.
Does anyone know what Rufio's henchman's name is?
Damar.
Basically, it's guys. It's Galadin.
Thank you. Everyone knows that.
Did you just refer to your notes?
Did you see that?
Are we talking about actual Rufio or Falafel?
No one here knew what his name was, including myself. So
it's not Damar.
That's gonna prove a point for me later on.
No.
But
Thanks for calling me out there, Jordan.
He's basically Damar, though.
Yeah. When he's talking to stretchy face Damar, he's like, I think you're a coward who has, you won't even prevent an atrocity. You suck. You're dumb. Your face sucks. He's just laying down the awesome Picard speech on this guy. And even with the weaker material, he just elevates everything he's in. My final pro, Picard's got game. Oh my God, he's talking to this hot single in his area, right? And oh my God. He's like, I've always liked older women. Potter,
Like Tim Curry.
I can show you secrets to ensnare the mind and bewitch the body. He's got game, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Snape.
Yeah, Snape. Snape's got game with Lily Potter, except, she got blasted. Anyway, so. I think that was cool. Man, too bad we'll never see this lady again. That's cool.
Thanks, Connor. Appreciate that.
Kirk.
Oh, I just want to point out that little kid, he said he was pointing out about how his legs are shorter than everyone else and it's hard to be a kid. Dog, I get it.
Your legs are longer than most human beings, Connor, so I don't know if you do.
I understand your struggle, brother. Solidarity.
Joselyn, top pros.
Top pros, and we'll begin with the fashion as we usually do, in mostly chronological order. I liked the formal uniforms, like the white tuxedo jackets for the reception. I did like that. And unpopular opinion, but I think Picard is pulling off the I stole this from a downtown taxi cab driver's seat headpiece. I liked it. And it's very surprising to me that he can pull off this look. Very surprising. Troy looks good again. I don't know if the hair and makeup team changed, but they got the body back in her hair and they got the color back in her face. she has very specific. She's warm tones. Okay, you can't just slap cool tones on Troy and expect it to look good. So whoever did her hair and makeup this 2-part episode knew what they were doing. She just looked so good. Picard again, when he comes back from the away mission and he's got his uniform jacket off and his shirt is open and unbuttoned. And then I officially prefer Riker without a beard.
Whoa.
And I will not be taking any questions on this position.
There's going to be
Picard.
questions.
There will be questions.
Jean-Luc again. The best look of this movie for anybody was that neutral sweater T-shirt with like the square neckline and that leather jacket, collarless, like no like bells and whistles, just like that nice leather. And you thought it was black. You thought it was a black jacket. And then he gets in the sun and bam, it's green. It's green. Like, where do you even find something like that? It was amazing. And I thought the space Amish normcore look was good. It's not for me, much like the lifestyle itself, but I liked the consistency of it. Moving away from fashion, Picard trying to get Worf to sing carpool karaoke was a treat. And so was the entire musical number. And I've been saying this for a very long time, but I want Star Trek the Musical. And I feel like we got a little glimpse of what that might be like. And I feel like everybody loved it. And then lastly, big pro here. Overall, I just think that Star Wars taking on the evils of colonization in 1998 deserves like major props. And Picard, his statement was, some of the darkest chapters in the history of my world involve the forced relocation of a small group of people to satisfy the demands of a large one. And that's just like, I mean, I didn't, like, my 12-year-old self didn't really pick up on this, but 12, wait a minute. I'm not that young. I can't do the math, so we'll skip it. But those are my initial pros.
Very good, Joselyn. We will have follow-up questions later. Jordan, 3 pros.
You'll answer for your crimes.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick out 3 random ones. One thing I noticed, I have quite a few pros, but none of them are like huge, major pros. Just a lot of little things. One of my favorite things in this movie is Worf getting cut off when he's trying to explain why the heck he's even there. The writers are like, yeah, I love that they address it. And they're just like, oh, sorry, Mr. Worf, I got to go deal with the thing. It was like, poor Worf. I'll get to him later. But LeVar gets eyes. Like, he gets to see a sunrise. I thought that was like a really touching moment for his character, and probably for LeVar Burton not having to act with stuff in his eyes or covering his eyes. So I thought that was really good. And then lastly, and most importantly, we get to see the captain's yacht. Finally, the long teased captain's yacht since like Samaritan Snare. So I was really excited about that. And just really happy that Picard has this yacht and finally got to drive it after a decade of service on the Enterprise. So what about you, Jeremy?
I thought the movie had a great runtime because according to late night ads, any insurrections that last longer than 2 hours should be reported to your doctor. So they got that.
Nice.
I'm too young to understand what he means.
Me too.
You don't have like a brunch.
Yeah, I do.
What the heck?
Here we go.
Cue it up.
Ain't no joke.
It's a little longer.
This took a horrible turn.
It's about a 3-minute bump, so we'll take a quick recess. Watching with Chelsea definitely raised this movie up for me a bit because I got to watch it with fresh eyes, like LeVar. Something I'm not sure.
Nice segue.
Thank you. I ever had with this film. Back in '98 when it came out, I was definitely on message boards, and unfortunately, I know I spoiled myself on a lot of plot points because I certainly remember the whole like Data at the beginning, and I think I didn't do myself any favors when I watched this for the first time. So that aside, there are actually some great mysteries and surprises in this film. The fact that Data's malfunction didn't turn him evil, but in fact the exact opposite. It amplified his ethics subroutines. I thought that was really cool. The cloaked hollow ship and what that meant, I liked. And I really enjoyed the twist that the Sona are actually expelled Baku and was moved at the end when the children returned home, when it was, Galadin was hugged by his mom. I certainly didn't scroll down to these notes to find out what his name was, because I remembered all along. And finally, I was disappointed a bit that we didn't get a full-fledged Enterprise during the Dominion War story, but understand why we didn't. It's not their story to tell. I'm glad we got multiple mentions of the war, and even Ketracel White. It's a good pull. And just hearing Picard say the word Dominion makes my nerd heart smile. So it's enough for me. I will take it. Let's get into remaining pros and neutral zones. Chelsea, lead us off.
So the dress uniform. All right. Keep your hands away from the soundboard, sir. The dress uniforms that Joselyn mentioned, I really like the white, which I don't know if this is the right, but we see those on Lower Decks, which Jeremy pointed out, so that was kind of cool. And then the weird little headdress really pulls the whole outfit together.
Ties the room together.
I also love how just over the bullshit he is, but he puts on a smile and goes out there and does his job. And I'm like, you're a better human than me.
He is truly the best when it comes to diplomacy.
Yes, yeah. Geordi's eyes were like really cool looking in the white uniform at the beginning when he had like his, I don't know, it was badass. Also love that he finally got to show his real human eyes, because I think he's like a really good looking dude, and they've just kind of like shoved him under a rug, and it's like, why? To make Jonathan Frakes feel better? Like, get out of here.
Did you come here for something in particular, or just general Riker bashing?
We'll get to that later. I do love the Troy and Riker relationship, like Leta mentioned. Like, they are so freaking adorable. However, I do not think Riker is worthy to even drink her bathwater because he's such a whore. But he makes her happy. So I just think she's adorable. And it was cute seeing him almost like childlike, like flirting and just being goofy. I thought that was pretty cute. I'm not really sure. This isn't a pro. It's not a con. It's not really an observation. I just wanted to everybody just take a minute and think about what it would be like to have your face literally split open every time you get stressed. I think it brings a more literal meaning to the term breakout. And I also think that me personally, I would probably look like the lady founder in DS9 when she's like really sick with like the founder ick.
Oh no.
And it's just a little it's pretty gross. Just wanted everybody to think about that. The Sona ships are so cool looking. Like, holy crap, those are really cool looking. I love like the heavy firepower we see in this. I don't remember seeing that. It's just like the little handheld phasers, which are fine, but not like super exciting. Like, Worf has an actual fucking rocket launcher. What? That's amazing. And then you have like Crusher sitting there with like a freaking shotgun. I don't know. It was really cool. It's like Rambo in space. I love it. The wing things that come out from the Sona ship. I don't know what they do, but they're pretty. And the soundtrack was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as First Contact, the soundtrack. But I thought it was a good fit. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any neutral zones?
Nope. Just the weird, imagine your skin splitting open when you have a bad day.
Yeah, that's certainly certainly neutral.
Thank you. We will never forget that.
They always said headaches were bad for you.
Or forgive. Leta, any remaining pros or neutral zones?
Yeah. I feel like this movie was fun to me because everybody felt like they had a lot of fun filming the movie. I don't know. It just seems like that in certain ones. And this one had drones and llamas and like Data walks into a lake. The whole thing had such bizarre, amazing content. I think Jordan said it wasn't like one big thing. It was just like the whole movie was littered with these moments. You're like, did that just happen? Okay, I'm here for it. This also gets a point because it's my husband's favorite movie.
Oh.
Questionable.
Movie?
We'll talk about that. No, Star Trek movie.
Okay.
Come on.
I mean, I just needed to clarify that for his sake.
Batman Begins is his favorite.
We got further questions on that as well.
We do.
Yeah. We get a press conference.
That's really
together.
interesting.
Also, I liked Worf in this movie because he was so funny. Kind of a neutral zone, but I do like him telling Riker how it was about his relationship with Deanna. He was like, "You're in love with her, dude. Get over yourself." I mean, that's just what Worf needs to do all the time. I loved having them there again, but I think it's a pretty common thread. I feel like we could have gotten so much more about his current life, and he had so many good almost moments that I feel like he could have been a bigger thread in this movie, and it would have made it a little bit more meaningful without taking over DS9's story. But yeah, that's it.
All right, very good. Thank you, Leta. Connor, any remaining pros or neutral zones?
Oh, you betcha. So the little goblins, you got what are they called? Are they
Baku or Sona?
No,
sorry.
No, the little booger people.
Oh, at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Little goblins. I don't know if that's like a slur or something, so I'm trying to be sensitive here. But the adorable little booger people, I really like them. I thought the makeup was really cool. I like that they had the funny. It's funny because it's different headdress. I don't know what I get out of Star Trek if I talk like that, but their welcoming hat, and I thought that was really really adorable. I like the hologram ship. Very clever. Like I will say, I think that's a really clever idea. Again, I mentioned the Picard speechisms, but my favorite line of his from this movie, and possibly one of my favorite Picard lines, is, "I'm not pleading for my life. I'm pleading for yours."
To Gallatin.
Yes. That guy.
Yep.
And I thought that was fantastic. I really like that.
Picard's so great at that stuff.
I like a lot of the banter from kind of earlier on when they start their insurrection, if you will, and they're basically like, "I'm going to Mordor, Sam. Of course you are, Captain, and I'm coming with you." So it's really fantastic.
Of course you are, Frodo. Lock and load.
We're gonna blow up Barad-dûr, Sam.
Settle up, Sam.
And my plasma launcher. And my bazooka.
We always tie it back to Lord of the Rings somehow. So yeah. Like I did not hate this movie, but I think there are a lot of strong things in there. We'll get to this later. Next.
All right, thank you, Connor. Joselyn, any remaining pros or neutral zones?
I got a couple pros and a few neutral zones. Facelift technology in the future is just a concern to me. Very concerning. Not looking for. I just thought we would be farther along. That's just an observation. I do like, though, how they made the Sona look more haggard as the movie went on. Like their skin is getting thinner. It's kind of pulling. I mean, it's always pulling, but it's getting loose around the eyes and splitting, of course, in places. I thought that was really great. Riker and Troy are couple goals, I guess. So, but I agree with Chelsea that he is not worthy. Just not worthy. Neutral zone wise, I think Geordi is clinically depressed.
Oh.
I think he is. He's always kind of low energy, frowning. His best friend is essentially a computer. He's just living from
feeling personally attacked right now.
Well, I don't know what to say. He lives from emergency to emergency, never really seeing a sunset before. Like, he's unable to relate even to the way others perceive the world. And I guess my question is, like, where is Troy during all this? And why is Star Trek Nation doing him so dirty and never giving him, like, a girlfriend or a boyfriend or, like, even just, like, a human friend with or without the benefits? I mean, I would take that for him. And like previously mentioned, he's a good-looking guy. Like, he's got a great job on the Enterprise.
Be depressed when you're good-looking.
Well, what I mean is, like, he's got a lot going for him. Where are all the chicks? Like, you're telling me he's been on the Enterprise for how many years, and the chicks are, like, way into the chief of engineering?
Well, he likes
with
the more
that
holographic.
face, serving that body? Like, I don't...
Yeah, didn't he, like,
These aren't
make
the
a
valves
girlfriend?
he's interested in.
Lord Brahms.
Yeah, more artificial stuff. Yeah, there might be something to
It's gotta
this.
be a hologram.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, his Tinder
Hologram
profile
or
says
bust.
depressed and beautiful.
I just think we could all make it up to him by making him the host of Jeopardy. Anyway, next, Neutral Zone. If I had to spend 309 years of my life making bread and quilts and moving around exclusively in full linen dresses without a phone or like a computer or anything, I would throw myself in front of a phaser at the earliest opportunity.
Or into a lake.
Or into a lake, because obviously in 309 years, living off the land with a very prominent water feature, I never learned to swim. This woman, there's a lot of issues with her. But anyway, last Neutral Zone, Worf. I think, Leta, you said like he had a bunch of like almost moments, and I agree. And it's really sad that like the one thing I remember of Worf, outside of refusing to sing in carpool karaoke, is his gorge. Like, literally, the pimple on his face got more screen time than he did.
Hardly noticeable.
Hardly noticeable. Well,
just like Worf.
Well, to that point, exactly. To that point, though, like, I do have some recommendations for him because I actually have a little bit of a gorge situation going on myself right now.
Justin, tell us about your skincare routine.
I mean, twist my arm. Anyway, it's important to double cleanse. No, I'm just saying, for Worf, I recommend a full coverage concealer, and you're going to need to bake, like with a quality loose powder, none of that pressed stuff. So that'll really help to kind of even it out, and especially with the cameras, you won't even be able to see it. That's all I got.
Very good and very helpful. Thank you,
Michael
Justin.
Doran's over there, like, writing down notes.
I hope so.
Michael Dorn, who's 70 and looks so beautiful still.
He's 70?
Yeah.
Still got it.
They're all right in there.
I never thought I'd be into like a grandpa, but here I am.
Well, I mean, here you are.
I hate everything.
This is awkward.
Yeah. Jordan, any remaining pros or neutral zones?
Oh, man, I'll go quickly through a couple things that were mentioned, but I have to say that I love these dress uniforms after this long history of crappy dress uniforms where it's like, what should we do with these dress uniforms? Let's make them longer and put some piping down. What? So these are great. I like the Dominion references, but it also makes me sad that they couldn't embrace what's going on in the Star Trek franchise outside of TNG because too many fans weren't paying attention to Deep Space Nine. So that makes me sad. And then we talked a little bit about Picard getting prepped for the diplomatic function and like going out into this little corridor that I kind of imagine is the cone of silence where he can just kind of like yell and then have his peace moment and then go back in. But I just like a Crusher who did not have much in this, but Crusher is like prepping him and Troy, and they're getting him ready for this function. They're just talking. And I think it's just a lot of those crew moments and crew interactions where like we go back and we watch these episodes over and over again. I've not gone back and watched Insurrection over and over again, so I've forgotten a lot of the little things, and I think that's part of what I like about this movie and just the crew interaction in general. Like we get like Troy and Riker, we get Picard and Data, and then on the planet, like the whole crew is here. They may not have a whole lot to do, but we're at least seeing them, and everyone is kind of involved in the plot to an extent. A lot of it doesn't really end up mattering, like Worf going through puberty again doesn't really go anywhere, just a few like cheap jokes basically. I also did feel that Riker and Troy somewhat inappropriate behavior while on duty. Like some of the stuff that they're doing, like I didn't really care because it's Riker and Troy. But like if I was a subordinate and I'm watching this, I'm like, my first officer is messing around with the counselor. Come on, like inappropriate. The Jocelyn, I can't believe you didn't mention this. Star Trek karaoke. Like they literally have a karaoke machine in the runabout.
I forgot about that.
With a little bouncing ball, like in a kid's show. That's like.
I mean, every car needs a screen that you have to look at for a prolonged period of time while you're driving, right?
And
that seems safe.
Chelsea mentioned this too, where he's like, "Do you know Gilbert and Sullivan?" It's like, "Oh no, sir, I've not had a chance to meet all the crew since I've been like." I would think the same freaking thing, because why, instead of like a crew member, would I think a 500-year-old, song from Earth's past? Like, why would Worf know that? Are they Russian? Come on. I liked Riker a lot in this movie. I felt having Riker without a beard was kind of weird, but he's just so confident even without his beard. It's like he hasn't lost a step, and he's like, Data, smooth as a baby's bottom. I'm like, I don't know why, but I always loved that. And then Data like actually taking him up on the offer and feeling his face and like shaking his head was hilarious. I had kind of forgotten, honestly, about like the devious nature of the Sona's plan to beam away the entire planet's populace onto this holographic representation of their planet and fly them away. Like that's actually kind of a genius plot. It reminds me a little bit of Voyager's, I think, finale, Hope and Fear, where this guy shows up and the ship looks like a Federation ship, but it's actually he's using holographic technology to make it look like the ship, and they think they're getting home, but they're not. Not a great episode, but similar story. And then the movie itself definitely reminds me of two TNG episodes in particular that I'll get to later. But the Sona ships, I know Chelsea mentioned that as well, they look really cool, and you don't get to see them too much. Like you see the Collector ship that kind of looks like a Bajoran solar sail ship, and that was okay, but I like their kind of like the 5 warships that they had. I like that the crew, stands up for Federation principles, ? Because I don't know if the Federation has principles, because I'm not even sure if the Federation was contacted by Doherty or if he's rogue. You can't really tell what's going on exactly, and the film does not exactly tell you that these orders are from the Federation. You just get it from Doherty, who is not exactly reliable. I spotted a Trill, and she had more screen time than Crusher did. So
yeah,
it's kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice had we had like Mr. Hawk or someone on the bridge, because it's literally Riker and 2 or 3 unnamed crew members we've never seen towards the end of the film that he's just interacting with. It's like, and she was fine, but we'll never see her again. I liked, I don't know Rabbit Riker? I don't know what that means. Worf's aggressive tendencies, like when he knocks that transporter drone into orbit. I bet Cisco wished Worf could do that when he swings at a baseball.
Ooh.
This is like just before taking out the holosuite. How does Worf... Come on.
The deep cut, deep dig.
Death to the opposition.
The Riker flying manual with a $10 joystick from Best Buy could be a pro, but it is, because it's Riker. It's incredible. And the freaking joystick pops up out of the console, and he's just standing there Rikering the hell out of it, and it's amazing. It's something you'd expect from Lower Decks, but it happens in Insurrection, and I love it. I believe Chelsea mentioned this one also, but Worf has a freaking torpedo launcher on his shoulder. It has like a cutout for his shoulder. It's like, it's incredible. We get like the phaser rifles every now and again. And this film has more than we've probably ever seen, and everyone gets a phaser rifle. But yeah, a torpedo launcher, freaking awesome. Not much for him to shoot it at, but whatever. Dr. Crusher discovers the Sona and the Baku are the same species, and all I could think of was Finkel and Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn. I don't know why, but that came to my mind. Like, pretty obvious. Ruafo just has a big, comfy couch on his bridge. Did you guys see that? Like, you know what? I respect that. If I'm going to have this ship, why should I sit my butt on like a cold metal chair? Like, I'm in space. I have a freaking ship. I'm going to find the
couch sounds good.
Like, I want the captain's couch. Yes, please. Forget the yacht. Give me the couch. And they used their own plan against the Sona. I keep wanting to call them the Baku sound like the bad guys, and the Sona sound like good guys. So I'm getting confused. But like they used the Sona's plan against them. I thought that was pretty genius. I also did not remember that part when I first saw it. Then I kind of did. But Picard has 318 days of leave. Like I like that someone went and like calculated how much leave Picard would probably have because he never takes it, and it's almost a year's worth. That was pretty incredible. And now they can slow down time. He could probably stay with her for over a year, and he still doesn't because, I don't know. And then, that's pretty much all the pros. I have several neutral zones. Data gets to play that whole storyline. I mean, it's kind of cute, but like season 2 or 3, Data maybe playing with a kid. In a movie, I don't need to see Data in the hay. Like, it was okay. But the intro to this film is just a bunch of people farming. If that doesn't get you riled up, I don't know what will. All I could think about was our Bajoran Farmers Only ad for this planet. You not want a short-term 50-year relationship? Go to sonaonly.com. Are you into stretch skin? Okay, let's see. They're really hard on Worf in this film. I don't know if they just have a bias against Deep Space Nine, but like everything is like a subtle jab at Worf. Like he sleeps in because I guess he's like a teenager again or something. Then he's got a pimple on his face and he's just kind of dopey. And anyways, like everything Worf says is just kind of putting his foot in his mouth in this. Data's desire to have this kid like him, I also did not exactly understand why. I understand he wants to be human, but I didn't know he wanted to be like a child. Why do the Sona even need or want the Baku off the planet? Which I think I kind of answered that question after I thought about it, is I guess they've got to collect that stuff. But like they seriously could have just collected that. They didn't seem to care for the lives of those people that much. Like, they're evil, but they're not. But then they are when the plot calls for it. So that was kind of weird. Like, they could have just collected what they needed, and the Baku would have died, but they didn't seem like they cared if the Baku died. They left 100 years ago, and they've been jerks ever since. So I'm not sure about that. I don't ever remember seeing Geordi with a fire extinguisher, but I think he gets 3 shots in this film where he's putting out a fire with a fire extinguisher. Like, does the ship, he has like a fire hose at one point that comes down, which is kind of cool, but that was kind of bizarre. And this is probably one of the few Star Trek movies that looks better on the small screen. Like, I think this is built to be watched on the TV, not in the movie theater. Anij and Picard, like, for such a slow movie, it all happens way too quick. And then it fizzles out faster than an elderly couple in separate bathtubs who just realized they ran out of Cialis. Like, I'm not sure. There's like this weird ramp up from like 0 to 100.
That was unnecessary.
Anish's age. And then just at the end, Picard's like, well, I gotta go. Sorry. Like, what?
Sorry, my plane takes off tomorrow morning.
And you can't come with me because you'd be ugly real quick if you do. So I don't know. Picard comes off kind of like a douche in this movie. And then lastly, that's a con. I'll save that for cons. Jeremy, what pros do you have? Good sir.
I have some. Chelsea, you talked about it. I guess Jordan did too. Riker isn't even worth drinking Deanna's bathwater, which is weird because I think he did in this film. I think we saw that scene. I love Ruafo's couch, but he definitely needs a lot of those like roll-on Tide stain removers if he's going to be sitting on that couch.
Red couch.
Yeah, we've only seen his face stretch, but it could be others. Thanks. And
I hate everything.
Smooth Riker and Batman Begins, they were both good, but the sequel is better.
We're of course talking about Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah. Introductions of the new dress uniforms, I love those a lot. Finally got to see the captain's yacht. Awesome. It's always been there. I've always been studying them with the technical manuals. It's never been used. It finally was for a second. And not all the humor works for me in this, but I did enjoy Worf and the Gilbert and Sullivan being new crew members. That's a good joke. His definitely feeling aggressive tendencies, sir, was great. And I like, no one has mentioned Anej, which makes me nervous because I'm at the end of prose, but I like her a lot, and I really like Donna Murphy's performance. Her slow down scenes with Picard are really effective, and they get me emotional when they make the little hummingbird just... And now that I too have the face of a Sona, I can see where Ruafo's coming from. Why did I write that in? That had nothing to do with Donna Murphy. And I liked Galadin, Ruafo's friend and right-hand man. He was my favorite of the quote-unquote baddies. Not that that's a very high bar in this outing. And if we're going to be, if we're going to have absolute candor in this, I did have to look up Galadin because prior to that, I just called him Scott Baku'la.
Oh. And we know that guy's never made Star Trek any better.
Oh, no.
Hey, man, it's been a long
I will not be
road.
taking questions on this position.
We don't really have any follow-ups on that. That's pretty accurate. I like Data and his through story with the kid. I thought it was cute. A little late, like you said, Jordan, that season 2, 3 would have made more sense, but I love that Riker and Troy finally came around to stopping the Horn and getting together after a decade. That's 2 movies in a row that Deanna has been able to just loosen up and have fun, which is great. I think Marina Sirtis is wonderful doing that, and I can't wait to see what wacky fun hijinks they have in store for the counselor in the next movie. And final big pro, of course, is Geordi Sing a Sunset. Just a great moment. LeVar just getting to emote, and we can see his eyes, and just a beautiful moment. Neutral zone wise, I'm going to go with Smooth Riker. It's neutral because I like Smooth Riker, the cocky, fun guy kissing Dan on the cheek while also being through running from those bastards and going on the offensive against the Sona ships. And I know that Trill officer loved it too. She was swooning over Smooth Riker. Mm-hmm. But I hate that we get Smooth Riker in terms of his face.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
Wait, I think pros.
It is. It's neutral zone. Oh. Because Smooth Riker did a lot.
Did you want him to shave?
No. Oh, listen, guys. We didn't see that full scene either. But Smooth Riker did a lot of awesome things in this movie, but he did it as Smooth Riker, so it's neutral zone.
Different characters.
If it was bearded Riker doing all these things, it would have been firmly in pros.
Hey.
Okay, that's what we thought about the pros. This time when we come back from the break, we will jump into cons. My friends, if you have $1 or more you can live without, please consider becoming a Patreon member. Now, with over 50 episodes for you to listen to, it is a great time to join. For as low as $1 a month, you have access to every special we've ever done, covering a wide array of topics such as movies.
But Jared Leto's Joker gave me chills when he goes, "Hiya, Brucey." He's one half he's like you said, he's Wild West, and the other half he's like Jim Carrey from The Bat.
Yeah, he's half mask, half old prospector because he can't do Heath Ledger because he can't act.
No, he's like
smoking.
Somebody stop me.
And our ongoing coverage of the groundbreaking series Babylon 5.
I don't move my lips very much.
It's a little Sean Connery.
Is that you?
Sean Connery never did a bad thing in his life.
That's entrapment.
Okay, one bad thing.
Sorry.
So with over 50 exclusive Patreon specials to listen to, you also get our monthly movie reviews a week earlier than the rest of the world. Now is a great time to become a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/Star Trek Wars.
Yes, my entire family's being targeted, but we don't have time to save them right now because I'm on a date with Patreon.
All right, welcome back. We're moving to our 3 cons segment. Let's give us our 3 cons. Chelsea.
Okay. So the idea of Starfleet like secretly spying on civilizations that are like getting close to achieving warp capability is just not okay. Like, what do they think is going to happen? Like, they're going to be spying on this like entire planet, and then they're going to like get warp, and then they're just going to pop out of their creepy little invisible duct line and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And like these people are going to be excited that they're there and immediately trust them and like want to join the Federation. Like, that's not how that works. It's friggin' creepy. I hate it. And also, like, nobody just accidentally runs into that building.
Right.
Yeah, that's 15 feet away from the village.
Where, like, kids are playing. Like,
Did they have to remove that rock before putting their building in to pretend that rock is there? How do you do that? You beam that rock away? Ooh, maybe.
It's just all creepy. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's gross. Falafel and his people look like they just have trash bag faces. And, like, that is fucking wild. And not in a good way. Like, a kill it with fire way. It's disgusting. Yeah. They...
Right. They're not sexy like Jar Jar Binks. No. They are ugly like Jonathan Frakes without a beard.
Right. And Raffo...
We'll get to that.
Raffo certainly isn't clad, but his vengeance is hefty.
Which brings me to my next weird, not pro
with
con
force flex
or anything. But do you think that the Borg Queen and Falafel like get their skin from the same distributor?
Oh,
Skin Incorporated.
Yeah. Skin Sheets Incorporated.
Come in like 20 packs.
You won't believe our sheets.
I thought it was absolute crap the way they like. Worf was very clearly having a nightmare of Dax being murdered, like very clearly, and they didn't even like address that. And I get that it's not their story to tell, like somebody said earlier, but I don't know. And then the way they explained, I think this was a pro for you, Jordan. The way they explained why Worf was there was such a freaking cop out, like ridiculous. Like, oh, what are you doing here? And then just and then like pans off to another conversation. Like, dude, if you're gonna even like address it, just address it. I thought that was really just kind of shitty.
Just wait for the next movie where they don't mention it at all.
That's all I have.
Okay. Do you have any remaining cons, or
I do.
Okay. All right. Good.
Do you want those?
How many do you have?
2, 3, 2.5, 3-ish.
We'll come back to you.
Great.
Leta, top cons.
This would have been a really good episode of TNG, but as a movie, I'm disappointed because I really hate it when they make the main villains look disgusting to look at. Like, that seems like a cheating kind of thing from a writing standpoint. Like, these dudes look like a Pinterest-inspired Halloween centerpiece that you cover with assorted deli meats, and no one touches it because it looks crusty and it smells off. Like, it's just, like, that's for Halloween. That's for spooky show. This is not spooky. It's just gross. And so it makes you not like them and makes you think that they're the bad guys without giving you a real reason. Anyways. Also, props to the props department for spray painting 2 kayaks together and throwing some cardboard on top to form a boat. And also for that freaky chipmunk-looking sugar glider. Like, okay, he's kind of cute, and I have a thing for ugly freaky. But, like, what was that? And it only got, like...
I won't tell Adam you said that.
Not seeming like they spent a lot of money, which apparently they did. I just thought a lot of it looked kind of cheap. But the rest is for later.
All right. Thank you, Leta. Joselyn, we'll get right back to you. Connor.
Oh, who am I, Jordan? You can't do that to me.
Absolutely not. I never make that mistake. Connor, 3 cons.
Only
for now.
No, okay.
For now.
Okay. Let's talk about my biggest 3 problems of this movie. I don't really. So when I say I don't care for the story, I mean as in I don't care about anything that's happening. So and it's not. I came in with a pretty fresh mind. I watched it with my adorable pit bull, and yeah, I tried my best to
Ruafo, right?
Yeah, that's the name of my female pit bull is Ruafo. A very niche reference.
Anish?
Yes.
It looks like Ruafo.
Oh, is that her name?
Yes.
I have her as Ass Lodge.
What?
Wait, there's Z's. It's the Z's. As Lodge. I swear. That's
what's lodged to wear?
Wait, I'll tell you
to see a doctor about that, Connor.
I'll tell you when you're older. But look. Okay, we're getting off
This is
track
what
here.
you've been doing at college.
Well, hey, man, look, I'm trying to live my bohemian lifestyle over here at my community college, okay? So lay off of me, all right? Get off my back, Buster. But they...
Apparently too much there already.
But look, the point is, Star Trek is about using the medium of science fiction to basically moralize and preach. And that's what I like about Star Trek. So I don't like it when they needlessly turn it into a big, dumb, loud action thing. I think this movie would actually be better if there was no, space bazookas and phaser battles, and if it was more of an ideological struggle through words instead of just shooting each other.
And Connor, have you noticed that your space bazookas have become firmer?
Yes. There's one growing out of my face. But the problem is with the overall story. Like, why does this need to be told? It's just this is like, in the same way as kind of my problem with Generations. This just feels like an episode of season 7 TNG, like a 2-parter with a budget. First Contact felt like not only was it an incredible, it felt like a film with its plot and scope, but it also really advanced kind of the character arcs of a lot of characters, especially Picard. And none of that really matters in this movie. And that's kind of a shame. I'd like to see more of tender moments and vulnerability, and a lot of that character development is not lost with these characters, but it doesn't matter to the wider scope of the movie. Okay, the jokes. It's my second big problem. Now, I think there were some that were really funny, but I like the inflatable Data. I thought that was actually really fun and clever. But the one that I thought was kind of asinine was have you felt your boobs firming up? And I'm just like, oh God, which was it? Rick Berman? Which one of these freaks? Because we had the 4-season reign of terror of feet with Star Trek, and we had Jerry Ryan passing out in her skimpy outfits. It's like, which one of you disgusting weirdos made poor Gates McFadden say that?
I can't imagine that. Wait, I got a note. Rush this down to the office. We need Marina and Bev to have a scene where they talk about their breasts. All right.
It's just so asinine, and it's not funny. And there's a lot of kind of juvenile humor, like with the Groutsit. What's it called?
You have to be more specific.
The Gorge. Thank you. The Gorge. I didn't like the Gorge very much. Because it's just this. He has a zit on his face. Isn't that funny, guys?
Well, no. When he hit his head Gandalf style.
Just tea, thank you. Just a gorge for me.
But it was, I didn't laugh at a lot of this
never
movie.
Late.
Puberty is never late, Frodo Packins.
Exactly.
It arrives exactly when it means to.
I just didn't care for the juvenile humor, which we'd never do here on Star Trek Wars. No, but
space bazookas
sounds somewhat hypocritical coming out of your mouth.
But it just did not land. And finally, here's my biggest hot take. I don't like the Baku. They're everything I despise, actually. They're rural. No. Listen, they're like these enlightened douchebag hippies who think they know better than everyone else. Well, we traveled the galaxy and all we found was a big old universe, and we just realized one day, you know, it was like we're every step away from home. We're going further from home, so we're gonna go back home. You hear?
I did not realize Larry the Cable Guy.
Like, shut up, you
film.
disgusting bumpkins. Like, these inbred hicks, okay? All they do is preach. We just get their smug philosophy like they're better than everybody. How does it feel to not have modern medicine, you morons?
They're Luddite libertarians.
You know, yeah, and here's the whole thing. They're a bunch of hypocrites, and I'll prove it to you with facts and logic. The point is, they're like, you know, why have a device do things that a man could do himself? And then why do you have boats? Why do you have boats, you disgusting cowards? You're taking away man's natural ability to swim. Why do you have gardening tools? Oh, to help you farm?
That's what fingernails are for.
Use your own hands, you disgusting hypocrites. Okay? Get out of here. This is the smug philosophy. I hate how smug they are. They almost deserved to be happy and secure in their homes.
Connor, it's the old expression. It's easy to be smug when you live on a magic planet that makes you young forever.
That's so true. That's so true. And I just don't care for them. And this kind of, it's not that it's a tribal society, but these more primitive societies are shown in film is like carefree and nobody does everything. You know, everyone just eats and runs around. But in reality, tribal or, you know, kind of more like technologically primitive societies are just as complex as ours. You know, like it's not necessarily like the noble savage trope, which I think is horrible, but it's kind of on near that kind of level of talking down to the audience, and I just thought it was so smug. You know what I like? Microwaves. They're cool. You know what people in the 1400s didn't have? Well, rights, healthcare. Well, we don't have that in America.
Hot Pockets.
But they did not have Hot Pockets.
I mean, they did. They just couldn't eat them.
Exactly.
Life past 30.
Life past 30. Yeah. So, you know, you can live forever because of like your cool rings, but you choose to wallow in your own ignorance and you're super smug about it, and I don't like them.
Wow. Certainly a hot take.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, Baku, you're on notice. Joselyn, top cons.
All three of my top cons are yielding their time to this con, and that is this movie is too long.
It's the shortest of all the Star Trek movies.
And it's still too long.
Okay, fair enough.
We didn't need the fight between Raffo and the Admiral at the end there. We didn't need an elaborate chase. That was a bit of a stretch. We didn't need an elaborate chase through the mountains and the caves of the planet. We could cut at least one trip to the planet and back. We could cut Picard and Raffo's face-off battle, no pun intended, but mostly skip the entire twist with the Sona.
Could Raffo please be played by Nicolas Cage?
I know,
his
right?
best friend
Can
could
everything?
be John Travolta. Oh my God, this movie just got amazing.
Yeah, that'd be. I would come back for that. My main beef, and this is potentially controversial, but I did not like the twist that the Sona and the Baku were essentially the same species. You just don't need it. It doesn't fundamentally change anything. The only thing it really does is create like this plot device where you can have the main baddie's bestie betray him, and thereby you like easily get the crew what they need to trick the baddie. But I think you should come up with a more clever way to do that. That's not so convenient, because the whole trick with the holodeck was so clever, and it brings everything so full circle. Like, that's your ending. That's your culminating moment. That's it right there. Like, stop after that. You don't need this, like, I don't know. I didn't need Picard's speeches are all great. I agree. But like, I didn't need the whole, like, he had 3 separate like dressing downs of whoever that guy was that we didn't really know the entire movie. We don't even remember his name, the baddie's best friend. We don't need that whole thing.
Lucretius, that guy.
I wanted like the dramatic irony of the Sona having happened to them what they were planning on doing to the Baku. That was cool. That should have been the punch at the end, and it was just watered down. And you could tell they knew that they had created too convenient of a plot device, because that's why they had to add on these fights between the Admiral and the fights with Picard, like so that it felt like it was earned. That was like the biggest thing for me that just took me out of it. I did not enjoy that twist. I felt like it was just convenient. Not a fan. Done.
Very good. Thank you, Joselyn. Boom. Jordan. Top cons.
Yeah,
Very
one
efficient.
of Jocelyn's biggest cons is watering down punch. You can't add water to punch at a Jocelyn
Don't do
party.
it. Don't do it.
I would say I didn't really prepare this as top 3, but I will say that I got on Discovery pretty hard for one of the main characters shooting a bad person in the head to end the season. So I do have to. This is a slightly different circumstance, but Picard just letting Raffo die in a fiery blaze at the end of the film, like he's a bad guy, but like you just burn him to death. Okay. Whatever. Like, there's clearly 2 life signs, and they choose just to beam up Picard. They don't know what's going on that ship. Like, what if Rafa had a change of heart? They just beam Picard out of there and let this guy die. It's what? I mean, it's action movie, so yay. But like Connor says, like this does kind of, at the very end, it kind of devolves into a action film, which is unfortunate because this is probably the most Picard-like movie that we'll get. I think First Contact aside, which was good, but more action hero Picard, whereas this one, he was much more like down to earth and trying to find out about these people and learns how to slow down time, just like he learns how to do a Vulcan nerve pinch. It doesn't make sense, but he can do it because he's the Picard. What is the Bajorans' home planet called?
Bajoria.
Beige. That's right. This planet should be called Beige or Earth Tones, because that's all they wear. It's terrible. Like, everything is a brown and a gray, and like
it's
that
Space
one guy-
Amish Normcore.
That one guy, actually, my third con, just so I can talk about this, is the secondary characters in this film. We have Anij, we have Raffo, and I can't remember anyone else's name. Boring guy who's just like standard white guy of the town who never changes his clothes, even though they do manual labor every day. And they have people who practice sewing for like 100 years, or was it 30 years, just to be an apprentice. They should have a crap ton of clothes. They should have a new outfit for every half of the day. They should be changing regularly.
These people are really stuck up.
Yes.
I bet not a one of them has gotten their theta radiation vaccine.
I can almost guarantee it. So, yeah, I don't know. The secondary characters, bad. The costuming for the Luddites, also bad. And letting Raffo just die seems so anti-Federation. But I will stop there because I've got a lot more cons for later. Jeremy, top 3 cons.
Maybe they just haven't gotten around to color yet, you know?
Well, that's too technologically advanced. Like, if you put dyes in there, you're taking away from the natural beauty.
Yeah, that's a year 500 skill for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to level up.
We believe that when you put a man in something that's other than skin tone, you take something from the man. Okay.
That's deep philosophy
style.
right there.
Style, for sure. Ruafo's skin sessions and how he killed the Admiral. Seems like these scenes were included just to stretch out the runtime. Thanks. Picard. Another Batman Begins, and Picard, like, it ended the same way with Picard being like, I'm not going to kill you, Raffo, but I don't have to save you either. And then just flying away. Exactly how we took care of Liam Neeson. Ruaffo is just Ruaffle, if you ask me. He's, sorry. I'm just not intimidated by someone that may potentially bleed to death every time he raises his voice.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into any remaining cons we may have. Chelsea,
Yeah.
we'll start with you.
I really, 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 really hate Riker without a beard.
Whew.
He's like, he's old and he's bloated, and it's not a good look for him.
Coke bloat's a very serious issue. Unless we're talking about Shatner.
No, his face is all like bloaty. I don't like it. It's not. It's
What the
not
hell
good.
does that mean?
And if Troy's into that, I mean, good for her, but gross.
It's brutal.
Data saying, I was going to
Was
the
that a
hills.
Kirstie Alley joke? Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
I was.
I know when everybody's back, it's just like any fad. It retracts before impact.
You were saying, Chelsea?
Yeah. Data saying I was going to the hills following some children is some predatory shit that I don't like.
Well,
I don't care what the context is. Don't ever say that. That is weird. And then he's like, why won't these kids be friends with me? Because you're a freak, Data.
I just want to play.
I got some Subway sandwiches for you.
Oh, no.
Data's on the Focal diet.
He's lost some weight. He's actually lost 100 pounds eating Subway.
Oh, it's too bad Riker didn't.
And they're not talking about it.
Falafel's scream is I have it in cons, but it was also a pro. I don't know. It was
laughed
horrible,
so
and I
hard.
loved it. And it was generally like for me, I was like, oh my god, that was the worst part of the movie. And then like later, I was like, or was it the best? Like, I don't know.
It's a blurred line. Because I laughed.
It's
My took us off.
So dumb.
Because it was amazing. It changed my life.
It's like so. It's like comically.
You imagine like
Yeah,
anytime he just like stubs his toe, it's just like
Yeah. And then his
I need
forehead.
that audio of me stubbing my toe.
His forehead just splits open and he starts bleeding everywhere.
yeah.
I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Chelsea. Leta, do you have any remaining cons?
I kind of a neutral con. Like, I can absolutely see this kind of colony happening in today's society. I already know way too many millennials who are turning away from like their high-powered jobs and fast lifestyles, and they're actually going into like farming and self-sustaining, quieter living. With that being said, I have confirmed that the Baku is a cult. Everyone's playing hacky sack and quilting. Plus, all the adults are hot. So that's your biggest red flag. Get out. Get out now.
Well, time to get you. All right, was that it, Leta?
Yep, that's
Okay, great.
spooky. It's culty.
Yep, wise
Stay
words.
away.
Yep.
They're spooky and they're culty. The Baku family.
Connor, do you have any remaining cons?
I do, actually. Quite a few, believe it or not. So, Picard, the hypocrite, all right? He's all fine removing native people if he doesn't want to bone one of them. You know, it's like, I do not see hotter, older women in this area. I'm going to remove all of you because, you know, I'm, of course, referring to the episode Journey's End from season 7.
You didn't even watch that one.
Well, I mean, I didn't watch it with you, but I've watched the episode. Because I like Star Trek.
Why would you watch an episode if it wasn't for a podcast?
But Connor, if you ask me, Journey's End was when Steve Perry quit the band.
But in that one, he had no problems telling Wesley Crusher, well, these are our orders, and we're going to do it. But now he's like, it is wrong to remove native people from where they've choose to settle, no matter how inconvenient it is for the Federation. And I'm like, you know what? You are you sexy old man. All right, I get what you're doing here, but it's gross and it's hypocritical. Okay. Let's see. I did not care for Rufio.
It's a different movie.
Oh, that guy.
Just the character in general.
No, I love the kid from Hook. Do not care for this guy. I completely agree with that. He's not intimidating, And a good villain doesn't need to be intimidating, right? Like Wei-Yun is not physically like an intimidating specimen, but he is a really great villain because he has so many he's the acting from Mr. Combs is so incredible with that character. But with this guy, I was laughing at half of the things he was saying. Particularly Chelsea brought this up. Where is Padme? Is she safe? In your anger, you killed her. And that happens to me every time I lose a match of Battlefield. I just get on the ground. I start crying. I'm freaking out. I kind of brought this up with I didn't like this movie being turned into a huge, like, big, dumb action thing. And I do not care for the purple space bazooka one bit. I do not like it at all. And everyone in this movie gets to be an action hero.
To be fair, he was going through puberty.
Well, that is a very fair point, Jordan. I just didn't care. And then, of course, you have Data, who wants to be a child. Data, let me tell you, as someone who is a former child actor and former child, it is not all it's cracked up to be. You know, he's like, I would gladly have bedtime if it means like I could have the ability to grow up. No, you don't, Data. Brett Spiner is already a really tall guy anyway, so that doesn't matter. And bedtime suck when you're a kid because you'd rather be playing with blocks or something. I don't know what kids do nowadays. Am I right, fellow boomers? But listen, kids are dumb. They can't drink alcohol. They can't drive. They can't smoke opium like us enlightened adults.
You certainly can't do both at the same time.
No. Not like us adults.
Yeah, I have the opium pipe in one corner of my mouth and my booze in the other because don't let my parole officer hear that last part. But
he's a real narc.
He's a real narc. I do not care for him. And finally, let's talk about what's her name?
Anish.
Anish, not Aslodge.
I have Anish.
An Anish for speed.
I need you.
So tight?
You know, in her defense, she is a kind of, you can't say that. Very attractive mother-like person.
Smoke show.
Yeah, she's a silver fox, but she is not particularly interesting to me. She's just like Picard will ask a potentially interesting question about her people or their history, and she'll be like, please, no more questions. I'm only a woman, darling. You know, and Picard's like, hey, dame, too much talking over here. I can tell you in trouble by the minute I walked on your planet. You know, and I don't care for it. Like, this is the problem with the Baku. This is going back to why I hate these people. Okay, all they do is spout these pretty platitudes about like living closer with nature. Let me tell you something about nature. It sucks and it's not worth saving. Kill the whales. The point I'm getting at, okay, is that all they do is they dispense this like pretty wisdom. It reads like that like high school dropouts like Facebook page where they post like inspirational quotes, and I can't stand it. All right, don't philosophize at me, Buster. I have a philosophy degree. That's a lie. I have a degree of I'm getting a degree of political science, but I just want these people to say something of substance. And you know, she has this kind of budding romance with Picard that's just born out of lust, like all good relationships, and they never see each other again in film form, unless I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen but we'll never see her again, and she's never even brought up in Picard because Kurtzman hates women, unlike Rick Berman. Next.
The hottest take.
The hottest take. I want to see Rick Berman in one of those 7 of 9 costumes. So that's just my hot take.
Yeah. All
no,
right.
you don't.
Joselyn, any remaining cons?
I have a few. For a species that's so image obsessed, you'd think the Sona would be better looking. Like, I think they missed a real opportunity here to do. I mean, think of like the Real Housewives of Sona kind of thing. If we're trying to build a contrast between the Baku, it should be like lip injections, Botox. It should be like all of that, and their clothing. Their clothing was so drab. Like, are you or are you not into yourself? Like, he's got the Liberace couch and he sits on it in like this, again, dark neutral cape thing. It didn't make any sense to me. I thought they should have been really done up, over the top, using technology for everything. It's missed opportunity. I did not understand the thing with Worf. And actually, Jordan, you mentioned like he was going through puberty. I did not get that at all. I was like, what is going on with Worf? Why is the planet so mean to him? Like, I don't know if I was the only one who didn't get it. In that case, I'll leave it. We can neutral zone that. But I feel like they just didn't make that clear. Another thing they didn't make clear was that Anish was not married to that mediocre white guy. And those were not their two sons. Like, I spent half this movie worrying about her husband finding out that, like, she was about to bone Picard and being like, well, I mean, in my head,
Only
I'm
you would have
thinking,
shaved your head like I asked.
I thought, exactly. I thought maybe they're so old and they've been married for so long that, like, an open marriage just makes sense to them. And then I find out she's not married at all. And I could have just been, like, delighted with this budding romance from the start. So I felt a little robbed by that.
Jocelyn, you're not alone in that, because that is exactly how Chelsea felt.
Really?
All the way up until the point where Picard and them started, like, she's like, whoa. Why is it okay for Picard to be hitting on her like this? Like, no, they're not together.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chelsea thought the exact same thing.
Well, even if that was the case.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In his defense.
He comes to her door with the classiest of pickup lines. How old are you?
Works every time.
Which I think I heard for the first time when I was like 14.
Oh.
Like, and then in the next scene, he's in a house, and it's her and that guy and the two kids. Like, I mean, what were they even doing with it? I don't know. Like, in the script, how that I don't understand the process of that, but it was just needlessly confusing. And a real time suck. Additionally, you could have taken that guy out of the entire movie and no one would have missed him.
If only the movie were a little longer.
Wait, in Picard's defense for doing that, though, you know, I'm the kind of guy who couldn't root for Hamilton in that musical until he cheated on his wife. So that's my hot take.
Okay.
Yeah.
You draw like a hard line on that, I see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, we're talking about the romance. Like, no final big kiss. Like, really? We don't even get like a final moment. Just like a weak promise that Jean-Luc will visit her when he's got some like vacation time, and maybe like if he has a flyover. Like
let's hook up later.
I know, right? I've got a 3-hour layover on my way to, you know, whatever system. If I were her, I'd be like, thanks, but I'm too old for this. Like, literally, I'm too old for this. And they're just playing into...
She stole Picard's line from later in the movie where he says, I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah, that should have been hers. It's really playing into that, like, captain of a ship or, you know, stereotype where they've got girlfriends on, like, every planet. I don't know.
Don't we all?
No.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
And then lastly, in addition to too many girlfriends, Picard has too many iPads. It's just wasteful, and frankly, it's privileged. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Very good.
Those
Thank you.
cons.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Jordan, seems like you had some remaining cons.
Oh, I've got some remaining. Let's talk about them. Where's all this cloaking technology coming from? Like, I guess the Khitomer Accords were like, you can cloak everything but a ship because they've got their base cloaked, they've got their heads cloaked, they got their bodies cloaked. And now that I think about it, the Sona are so good that they can reproduce an entire ship using holographic technology Why not like replace your face with a good-looking one using holographic technology?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like, come on. But yeah, that was just kind of weird. It's like they did it so they could have a weird reveal scene with Data where he takes off a helmet and he's a floating head.
Yeah.
It did not make much sense. This, I know Chelsea talked about this, but it needs to be discussed further. This makes the Fed look creepy AF, walking around a village cloaked as if the spy tower where you're watching people without their knowledge is not creepy enough. You're walking around like their houses and everything that they're doing every day. And how does the Federation go there for any period of time and realize, hey, these people are not interested in building warp vessels? How do they not get that on day one? That's all these people talk about. It's like talking to a vegan. Like, you know what these people are about. And yeah, we're too good for technology. We only eat the Lord's food. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't know how Admiral Doherty got into this. We haven't talked about Admiral Doherty yet, which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
But
I forget about him.
I felt he was fine. Just like the actor playing him, okay. But the way he was written and the way this was all done and the convenience of having the briar patch, which was kind of cool, but at the same time, like, it just, so many plot contrivances. Like, how do they find these people? Why are they there? Why the heck is Data there? Like, oh, we need someone to study Luddite culture. Oh, bring the android. I don't know. It just all very confusing. Let's see. I've got so many more. The Sona are so clearly the bad guys that they aren't even trying to hide it. Like you said, like, bad guys got to be ugly. They got to have this stretchy skin. They've got to have, I guess they have slave races or something. Like, I don't know who these people are. Like, on the bridge, they have other alien species there that clearly don't have a dog in this fight. And then they've got like those girls that do the skin stretching machines for them. That, like, I don't understand any of it. Why isn't it just all Sona people? Yeah. Why are these other people even involved? How did they get so good with technology coming from a Luddite culture? I know their background was they weren't, and then now they are, and they decided not to be. But I would have really liked to have seen like the Romulans involved, and like they were the ones pulling the strings behind the scenes instead of creepy Admiral whatever his face is, who I guess wanted the Fountain of Youth or something. I don't even know what his desires are. Like, why is he here? Why is he helping the Sona?
You don't need an elaborate backstory to justify someone wanting the Fountain of Youth. That is like a universal thing we all understand is wanted.
Yeah, this movie has like no subtlety whatsoever. And then Connor talked about this, kind of stole my thunder on this, the hypocrisy of Picard. It's like really too bad that the American Indians that colonized Dorvan 5 didn't have an attractive middle-aged Nia Vardolos look-alike. Otherwise, Picard might have stood up with them and started his own insurrection. Well, anyways.
I think if Picard started an insurrection, he should sit back down, just like where everybody's come from.
You're losing a lot of blood there, Picard. Okay. And then the battle in this episode. The crew faces off against their toughest opponent yet after defeating the Borg. Several tiny flying robot vacuums with transporter darts. Let's all hide in a cave.
Riveting indeed.
Oh man, and then just the Botox thing taken to the next level, that was just a little much. And I don't know if they just didn't have the technology to do some of those scenes. It kind of worked when they're doing the skin stretching. They fold his skin over, like that was, I guess, creepy. But that scene where Doherty dies, like, that really stretched the graphical limitations of a film with a $60 million budget.
What?
Yeah, it's so surprising.
I thought this was way cheaper than the last
contrast, one. First Contact's budget was $45 million.
This
was, I think, I saw between 58 and 70, so we'll just say 60. That's insane to me. Where did the budget go?
Boob jokes.
Hair and makeup.
The soundtrack, like, there's not really anything new in this movie soundtrack-wise that's memorable. I guess there's like a subtlety to it that kind of fits the tone of the film, but it just fades into the background and is very forgettable, to me anyways. The Federation, I guess, if we are to believe everything at face value, is trying to bottle and sell the Fountain of Youth at the detriment of the indigenous population. Aren't they supposed to be the good guys? Like, what is happening here? I mentioned the secondary characters, of which there are 2. Speaking of Rafo's number 2, has there ever been a character more easily and quickly convinced that what he's doing is wrong? Like, it took between decks 1 and 4 or 15 seconds for Picard to convince this guy that what he was doing was wrong. Like, you know what? I have been doing this for 100 years, and you're right. It's wrong. Let's get him. What? Okay, Galadriel, or whatever the heck your name is.
He's a fancy talker.
And lastly, Rafo's no scream is so bad that it is, to me, the second worst scream in Star Trek history. Like, that Into Darkness con scream will always be number 1 in my heart. But Rafo, you're number 2. And I really mean that. Jeremy, any cons?
Just a couple. You guys have got all of them. So, but yeah, the soundtrack was a bit difficult. And I don't hate the soundtrack, but it is super forgettable. I like the music at the beginning when they're showing people farm, and my blood's just pumping. But I do love that music. I think that goes with it really well. But if you ask me to play it now, I can't think of what it is.
Right.
Speaking of Star Trek Day, they had that nice like 10-minute opening where it's just going through like musical montage, which was beautiful. And when they got to First Contact, from the time that happened to the day I die, when I hear the theme for First Contact, I get misty-eyed. It does something to me every single time. If they started playing the Baku Village music during this montage, people would just be looking around at each other.
Shovel and man, I
You'd
got
be
to
throwing
town on some
rotten
soil.
tomatoes. It should have been like country music.
Hard day, cold beer, no beer. We don't like technology. Just water, thank you.
Yeah, why didn't they get Toby Keith to do the soundtrack to Insurrection?
We'll put the Baku up your ass. It's the American way.
Okay. And I'll just mention one more thing, and that is the character of Worf. No explanation this time around at all, which I thought was super weak. And then, yeah, I don't know how they do things on DS9, Mr. Worf, but on the Enterprise, you need to report to duty on time. Oh, sorry, Captain Picard. I was having a night terror about my wife that died a few months ago, you asshole.
You didn't even come to the wedding.
Yeah, the one I married in a ceremony none of you pricks could bother attending?
Maybe they weren't invited.
And you don't need to worry yourself with what they're doing on Deep Space Nine, Jean-Luc. Just know that they're out there fighting the most devastating war the Federation has ever faced, so you guys can prance around with cute diplomatic headbands on and complain that you don't get to explore enough anymore. While you're teasing Worf on tardiness, Nog just got his leg blown off. Yeah, cute. Well, that's what we thought about Insurrection. Let's hear what you guys at home think about it.
Picking up communication, sir.
Senior Council Member Wayne Fraser says, this would have made a really good season 6 or 7 two-parter TV episode. Not a season finale, but mid-season a la Gambit, perhaps. Barbara Whipple says, I like the invisibility suits, and I like Data saying he was designed as a flotation device, which was just silly. But most of the show was confusing, and I got tired of the fights. Of course, Picard has to hang by one hand, and they have to rescue him at the very last second. The village people don't make sense either. They don't have any tech, and the little boy has never seen any, but they can repair positronic brains.
Village people.
They're filled with a bunch of young men. They should have just have clinics on that planet for people to visit, because destroying the planetary rings means they have a limited amount of youth drug, and they will run out someday. And Senior Council Member Alex Hersey says, Insurrection, I think, gets unfairly dumped on a lot, so I want to try and spread some love here. Honestly, after First Contact, this is easily my favorite next-gen movie. I think it plays out like a nice two-part episode. also which I know gets people. I've always compared this movie to Star Trek V, but with a better story. The story works for what's going on, and the humor, even if misput occasionally, is enough to keep you going. Picard is good, and I enjoy a lot of his speech to Dougherty. In the novel of this film, we find it is working with Section 31, and this operation is run by them. And speaking of how many people it takes before it comes wrong, Data and Armin have a really charming dynamic about them too, and I think it's a lot of fun for Data and the viewer. We get to see that between them. Is this film perfect? Certainly not, but it doesn't deserve a lot of the bad talk it gets either. Alex ranks it 8 violations of the Kidam Accords out of 10. Let's go ahead and review it ourselves. Chelsea, we will start with you. What do you give Insurrection?
I was going to give it a higher score, but after hearing everybody talk about it, I think I'm just going to give it 8 skin stretching sessions.
Okay, 8 from Chelsea. Very good. Leta, what do you give Insurrection?
I also gave this 8 aggressive tendencies.
Wow, strong start for Insurrection. Connor, we'll throw it to you. What do you give Insurrection?
I give this movie a 4.
Your forehead just started bleeding, Connor.
Yeah, alongside 8 of my other parts of my body.
No!
Megatron! I give this movie a 4.
Okay.
A 4 dirty arties.
Okay, that certainly brings it.
Dirty arties.
Brings the average down a bit. Joselyn, your score.
I gave it a 7. Coincidentally, 7 is a number of staples in the back of my head that's keeping my face looking like this.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Jordan.
I give it a 7 as well. I give it 7 yucky kisses.
I knew all of you would betray
me.
me.
You say yuck?
I'm pretty sure she kissed him with a beard before, too, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there.
Yes.
I'm going to give this one a 7 also. A 7. All right. And Star Trek Council give an average score of a 6.14. Jordan, fun facts.
Fun facts. The film was produced simultaneously with the 7th season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine and the 5th season of Star Trek Voyager. Just to give you guys a little context as to when it was happening. The scene where what a golden age of Star Trek. We had Star Trek Deep Space Nine on TV, we had Voyager on TV, and we had like freaking First Contact and Nemesis or Insurrection coming out. Oh, man. And now we got 5 shows on there at a time. Anyways, in the scene where Captain Picard and Admiral are in Picard's ready room, there is a cloth on the back of Picard's chair. This is the cloth given to him by the Talkins in the Star Trek Next Generation episode Who Watches the Watchers, an episode where Starfleet used a duck blind for anthropological purposes and also to spy on the indigenous people. And that episode's probably as good as this movie, if not better. Jonathan Frakes wanted John Delancey to reprise his role as Q, but this never panned out, much as Frakes wanted it to. Marina Sirtis admitted that she fell asleep during the opening premiere of this film.
Oh, no.
High praise.
Ooh.
When Data is malfunctioning, Captain Picard gets him to recite Sir W.S. Gilbert and Sir Arthur Sullivan's An HMS Pinafore in the Isaac Asimov story Runaround. A malfunctioning robot recites Gilbert Sullivan while evading capture by his human masters. Much of Data's character is taken from Asimov's writings, such as Data's positronic net adapted from Asimov's positronic brains. Sir Patrick Stewart wanted his lifelong friend Brian Bless to play Admiral Doherty.
What?
Bless has over 800 hours of astronaut training at Star City in Russia and remains the #1 civilian on the wait list for the International Space Station. Sir Patrick Stewart has said that if he, not Captain Picard, were in charge, he would have made the Baku leave the planet.
Good Lord.
Which we didn't really talk about that as far as like the plot of this episode. Obviously, it's wrong to make them leave, but at the same time, the Baku should realize that is a humongous planet Could we just like quarantine off an area for them and let other people come and enjoy the benefits of this planet? My goodness.
Yeah, we could like give them a certain area of land. And then, like,
very
that
small.
belongs to them, just like where they're living.
Yeah.
Like we would reserve it for them, if you will.
Yes.
So
Well,
they would get like this reserved area of land, and then like they could have everything else. I heard that works really good.
I have a better idea. We're going to build a wall, and I'm going to make the soda pay for it.
Yosemites.
In one scene, Worf wakes up from a nightmare where Captain Picard calls him on the intercom. In backstory, Worf had a nightmare about a tragedy he suffered on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which took place before the film. Worf's wife, Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax, was murdered by Gul Dukat. So they left that out of the film. All the Baku buildings were created using a foam-like material cut by computer. And I never would have guessed. Industrial Light and Magic had provided the visual effects for Generations and First Contact, but did not return for this one because they were busy working on Deep Impact and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So,
One of the greatest films ever made.
One of our first Star Wars fun facts.
Oh, wow.
Originally, Wilford Brimley was asked to play Admiral Doherty.
Is that the diabetes
In the
guy?
original
Yeah.
draft, Admiral Doherty was going to die from diabetes.
Yes.
Gene Hackman was also considered. I'm sorry, I could not take Wilford Brimley seriously as Admiral Doherty. In one scene, Captain Picard and Worf perform an operatic selection from Gilbert and Sullivan. When asked about the scene during an interview to promote the film, Sir Patrick Stewart admitted that he was actually more of a huge fan of Beavis and Butthead and not really one of Sir W.S. Gilbert and Sir Arthur Sullivan. And Picard, like, Patrick Stewart is just like, really hurting my love for Picard. Everything he says is wrong. Yeah, I'd kick the Baku off the planet and then I'd have a marathon of Beavis and Butthead.
Fire.
Gilbert and Sullivan CDs.
He's never sounded more Shatner in his life.
This is the first time in over 10 years since Star Trek The Next Generation, the Neutral Zone Season 1 finale, that Commander Riker is without a beard, or Smooth Riker, as Jeremy refers.
They're two legally distinct characters.
This is the first time that he is seen both with and without a beard, and the last time that he is seen beardless. Jonathan Frakes wanted to do the shaven Riker as a result of female letter requests to that effect. So apparently there's a writing campaign. The manual control column that Commander Riker uses to steer the Enterprise is a modified Gravis Thunderbird PC joystick.
Yeah.
So you can find one at a Radio Shack if you could find a Radio Shack. Captain Picard and the crew used the captain's yacht to travel to the surface of the Baku homeworld. Which, did that planet ever even get a name?
Baku'la.
It's called Boxona. They could not figure it out. I don't know why.
Bakupiter.
This is the only instance in either Next Generation or the films in which such a vessel is ever used. Although at one point in Samaritan Snare, Season 2, Episode 17, this was briefly suggested that Captain's yacht for Enterprise D should be used to transport Captain Picard to Starbase 515 for immediate heart surgery. On that occasion, the producers decided to use a traditional shuttlecraft instead to cut costs. And I am definitely afraid to say this next fun fact for fear of what's going to happen, but I will say it anyways. Arnold Schwarzenegger was first offered the role of Adar Ruafo.
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm here.
There we go.
Come stretch me.
No!
Get to the stretcher.
As Captain, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Your android has become very dangerous, Captain. It needs to be destroyed. Come on, give me the schematics. Come on, do it. Let's go.
As Captain Picard, Riker. Right. I'm going to power through the turbo lift in dress uniforms. A display diagram can be seen showing the lift traveling through the ship, both vertically and horizontally. but not flying sideways through a series of intricate and nonsensical constructs in a vast emptiness rivaled only by the gargantuan scale of V'ger, aka the turbolifts in Star Trek Discovery. Are you kidding me? Sorry. Excuse me. I had to get that off my...
All that closet space wasted.
I know. What is it, freaking Narnia? Like, what?
Years of academy training wasted.
What did you think Anisha's name was, by the way?
Oh, Aslodge?
Aslodge?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta
Not
tell you, my
Aslodge.
kids are listening to the Chronicles of Narnia books, and Aslan is like the big lion or whatever, but they're listening to the audiobook, and I swear to goodness, the lady reading it has a slight British accent, but she says, Aslan. It's like, no. Every time, and it's like, they're on the part of the story where she says it every other word. They're like, and then they looked at Aslan, and there was Aslan, and Aslan was everywhere. I'm just like, no, I can't. No, not Aslan.
That reminds me. Have you guys heard about this theme park I'm creating?
It's right by the airport.
Oh, yeah. A-Rod and Jennifer Lopez are... Okay.
Do not speak to me of big booty. I was there when it was created.
Okay, Sona, almost there, Connor. Hold on a little bit more. The Sona are only ever mentioned once in the series during Deep Space Nine. Damar discusses them in passing with Weyoun. So it makes sense about the Ketracel White. The Sona are said to produce the neurotic Heterocell White. This was used by the Dominion to control the Jem'Hadar, which I think we all know that. Joseph Ruskin, Sona officer, appeared on every Star Trek series except The Next Generation, although he did appear in this film, with the exception of Majel Barrett, who has appeared on every Star Trek series. He was the only actor to appear on all 4 of the series in question. Furthermore, given that Barrett only provided the computer voice on Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Enterprise, Ruskin was the only actor to appear on screen in all 4 series mentioned above, along with Barrett. Clint Howard, Jack Donner, Vince Dedrick. He was one of only 5 actors to appear on Star Trek the Original Series and Star Trek Enterprise. He, Barrett, and Howard appeared on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Jonathan Frakes appeared on all 4 series except the original series. So yeah, that was a long fun fact that I thought was fun, but less fun when I read it. Donna Murphy, who plays Anij, one of the forever young members of the Baku. That'd be a great song to end this on.
It
Would go on to voice the villainous Mother Gothel in the animated film Tangled, a role where she's obsessed with eternal youth.
She also plays Matriarch Benezia in Mass Effect 1, and she's also a mom in that video game.
Marina Sirtis?
Marina Sirtis, yeah.
And a shitty mom.
Yeah, well, no one's perfect.
Also, there are mentions of collectors.
Really? Oh, that's right! Oh my god, it's all connected.
Dude, we got to talk after this. I have a whole theory.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The collectors were behind
A whole theory.
behind everything.
It's insane.
Stay tuned, Patreon members. And lastly, Captain Picard was originally going to kill Data in this film, a decision fully supported by Brent Spiner, who felt that he was getting too old to play the character. Oh, Brent. 20 years later, and you're still so... this was vetoed by Patrick Stewart. Spiner's script came with a note reading, "Better luck next time," to which the next film... Star Trek Nemesis said, "Hold my beer." And that is the end of the fun fact.
What? Wait, hold up. Data dies in the next movie?
All right, let's get into deleted scenes. Chelsea, what do you have for deleted scenes?
So this is actually more of just like a sneak peek into Falafel's reaction when he's told that he can no longer frequent his favorite Orion brothel due to the level of toxins his body is producing.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'm going to miss these little flesh-stretching sessions of ours, my dear.
That's what the kids are calling it these days.
Yeah, you can't call it that.
Want to stretch some flesh?
Awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. Leta, next time, deleted scene on.
Yeah, I have a deleted scene. Beverly Crusher turns into a jealous, vindictive sorority girl with the planet's waves and manipulates her best friend Deanna into telepathically gaining enough intel on Anij to create a hypo spray with a virus to give her back every last wrinkle and line that she's lost. And That's why Picard lost interest after all.
Oh,
Ooh.
the true nemesis.
Oh,
Very good. Thank you, Leta.
Mm-hmm.
Very clever.
Connor, next time on. Deleted scene.
Deleted scene, indeed. Well, I have, I don't really, I don't know about deleted scene, but we got to make some muchas gracias money, muchachos. I don't know how to speak Spanish.
Here we go.
But, I have drudged out another old friend of the podcast who hasn't been alive in 10 months or so. We haven't seen much from him. But you guys have kind of seen him recently, you two in the room with me. Mm-hmm. Give it up for Tony Vapes, everybody.
Oh, good old Tony Vape.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Tony Vape. It's been a long time. I just got done serving a 10-month prison sentence in jail for petty theft, embezzlement, stealing alcohol to minors, and a little dabble of cannibalism. I'm back, selling your favorite Star Trek-based vapes. 3 new fabulous flavors have been revealed unto me at Castle Grayskull, boys and girls. Number 1, Deanna Troy's bathwater. From Riker and Troy's own pool, right to your very lungs. Enjoy the salacious, seditious, sensuous taste of Riker and Troy's bathwater souping in your lungs. Riker's beard hair sold separately. Number 2, Charlie Sheen's back sweat. Figure it out, you disgusting cretin. And number 3, Ketracel White. It's liquid meth with a minty taste. Finally, meth that makes meth taste like it feels. Meth. Well, boys and girls, it's been turtastic. But it's time for me to hit the lettuce in the devil's garden, am I right? See you on the flippity flip, mother uckers.
It was nice seeing you, Tony.
Don't talk to me. You're not my real dad.
Always a pleasure with Tony. Thanks for bringing him back into our lives, Connor.
Of course, of course.
Joselyn, next time deleted scene on.
Yeah, I got a good one. Apparently, Crusher was not the only jilted lover that they wanted to bring back into kind of a love triangle situation. And I have some audio from that deleted scene right here.
It's been 300 years since I've seen a bald man.
How is it that you never married? And don't tell me it's just because you haven't got around to it yet.
What's the rush?
I should warn you, I've always been attracted to older women.
How could you forget me so quickly? I am bored.
We two are machines, just machines of a different type.
Exactly.
How small you've become.
I don't think so.
I am the beginning, the end, the one who is many.
We're getting too old for this.
If you stay long enough, that'll change.
There are days.
We've always known that to survive, we had to remain apart.
You think in such three-dimensional terms. That is because you haven't been properly stimulated.
Yeah, so, it's kind of a mess. You can see why they left it out.
Oh, how I've missed the Picard.
You did more editing than they did in this film.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Joselyn. Jordan, deleted scene?
Deleted scene or new movie altogether.
Okay.
I am combining Star Trek Generations and Insurrection, but only the good parts. So the movie will be under 2 hours long. I was just thinking, I couldn't really fully flesh it out, but I was thinking, if Generations didn't exist and you hadn't messed with Captain Kirk yet, that somehow the Nexus ribbon hits this planet and drops Kirk off here. And Kirk's been here, but he doesn't reach out to Starfleet because he's happy just living this lifestyle. Maybe he falls in love with Anij or someone on the planet, and he's just chopping logs, and they got horses on this planet for whatever reason because he's William Shatner and he wants horses, and he's just there. And then the Federation shows up, and they're like, wait, what the heck? Captain Kirk is here? And that's kind of where you pick up. What else do I have? Oh, yeah, and then you could just like leave him here at the end of the film instead of killing him with a bridge. I know that was a great climax of a film. And then you can use future de-aging technology to have young Shat in the new films.
Everyone needs a new Shat in their life.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that too.
I could have fleshed it out a little bit more, but just kind of had like that thought of, I don't know, Kirk just being here. Because there's so many times in Star Trek we see Requiem for Meth. Speaking of meth, Methuselah's just on a planet out there. And what's his name? Old Captain Warp Drive. Zephyrin Cochrane, just on the planet out there. Amelia Earhart, she's just on a planet.
Captain
Everyone's on a
Warp
planet.
Drive.
Come on.
Yeah.
I would
If
really
ever
love...
there's a planet to put Kirk on, it's the one where you stay young forever.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Give me young Shatner.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see some young Shatner with that arm hair digging up tree roots,
That's a
riding a horse, cooking eggs, chopping down trees.
Hell
That's
yes.
what we want to see.
Preach.
That's a great idea, Jordan, because you can keep Picard with his the way he felt about the Native Americans in season 7. He could still be the guy that has to relocate these guys, but now you have Kirk leading the insurrection, so you still have like a Picard versus Kirk.
Young.
Yeah.
Hot.
Old generation versus new
The arm
generation.
hair.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he'd do stuff too.
Chelsea, we got
I'm just
the
saying.
arm hair.
I'm just saying. All right. Sorry.
Chelsea's fully on board.
Troy
I'll
is
excuse
shaving
myself.
William Shatner's arm hair, and Chelsea's like, "Wait, what?
What a sensual scene!"
I don't want to smooth Kirk."
I just want young Kirk. Again.
My arms are smooth as an android's bottom. Hey, Data?
That's the thing. Armpits are our business.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Oh, I forgot to mention that this episode is sponsored by the new Briar Patch infused Hot Pockets with Metreon gas flavor. Or is that what? Maybe it's Briar Patch flavor and you get Metreon gas. I can't remember.
Sour Briar Patch. Yeah. All right. I've always been a Sour Briar Patch kid myself. Picard returns to the Baku world for some well-earned leave. 2 weeks into his vacation, he starts to look like Tom Hardy. Anij approves. All right, so how did Insurrection do this week? Well, using the combined average score of ourselves and you guys who voted at home, Star Trek Insurrection comes to us with a final score of a 6.73, putting it firmly in 6th place on our Star Trek movie countdown.
I actually heard that when President Trump was in office, he was trying to get reelected, right? So he was trying to find out how he'd get more votes, and he was trending not very well with minorities. So he reached out to his friend and actor Tom Cruise for a minority report.
Oh my God.
I know, that was, again, sounded better in my head.
That was a journey.
That was a journey. And a
Took a
stretch.
trip there.
Both of which were mentioned in this podcast already. So
Whew.
It was a good journey because it had Steve Perry.
That's right. Jeremy, put us out of our misery.
Next month on Star Trek Wars, we will be reviewing the 10th film, last from the Next Gen crew, and last for myself, Chelsea, and Connor.
Mm-hmm. And what's it called?
So glad you
In
asked.
darkness, there is strength.
It seems as though we are truly sailing into the unknown.
I recommend extreme caution.
Fascinating.
The time we have dreamed of is at hand.
The mighty Federation will fall before us.
Do you think this is a wise course of action, sir?
We're about to find out, Data.
Oh,
Star
no.
Trek
I don't like
Nemesis.
the implications of the moose out of the pants unzipping.
Yeah.
It's
really
actually
makes
a body bag. It's a
Trailer
body
was
bag.
not made for audio, I can tell
No,
you
very
that.
visually focused.
That was a lame ass trailer.
Well, at least they're not setting your expectations
Foreshadowing.
too high. Yeah. That's right. It is Star Trek
Foreshadowing for 1,000.
Nemesis. But you won't have to wait a month for new content because season 2 of Lower Decks is at its midpoint and it is being covered by Chelsea and myself. Star Trek Wars is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and anywhere else fine podcasts are heard. If you haven't done so yet, please take a minute and leave an iTunes review. That simple gesture goes a tremendous long way in helping other like-minded Trekkies find us. Write a review and we'll read it on air, and we actually do have a brand new 5-star review.
Whoa.
It comes from Got a Rugrat, and it's the lasting appeal of Star Trek. They go on to say, I'm new to the series, but it's an absolute blast. As a longtime Trekker, Trekkie, Trek fan, Tribble, it sounds like the kind of conversations my friends and I would have growing up with the series. Fun, insightful, and engaging. See what I did there? It's a perfect antidote to the Kurtzman woke not my Trek garbage flooding the discussion of this proudly humanist pop phenomenon. Thank you so much for writing it and delivering that 5-star review. That helps us tremendously. You can also find us on Twitter at the Star Trek Wars. And if you want some fine Star Trek Wars merchandise, head over to redbubble.com or follow the link attached to this episode. My friends, always a pleasure to see you. Connor, where can they find you?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You can find me writing papers, listening to lectures, writing more papers, sleeping, and writing papers.
Welcome to the real world, kid. Woo! Very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And for those at home, that wasn't a joke.
Leta, always a pleasure. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Star Trek Wars Facebook Council page, and over here I'll be watching the sunset and appreciating my eyeballs.
Yes.
Must be nice.
Always appreciate your eyeballs, folks. Joselyn, always a pleasure. Where can they find you?
Here, and then also filming some makeup tutorials, I think, in case a gorsh. Yeah.
Yep. Very good. Very proactive. Chelsea, always a pleasure. Where can they find you?
Okay, I see what you did there.
Okay.
I'm on the council page and also doing the Lower Decks coverage with Jeremy.
Yes, you are, and it has been a blast. Jordan, pleasure as always. Where can they find you?
You can find me also on the Facebook page and the continuing coverage of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Strange New Worlds, and all the new Star Trek shows coming out. They can also find me trying to order a Star Trek Insurrection-inspired dress uniform for my next job interview.
Yes, just for the job you want.
That's right.
As for where you can find me, well, where would leaving take me but away from here? On Star Trek
And when you finally fly away, I'll be hoping that I served you well. For all the wisdom of a lifetime, no one can ever tell. But whatever road you choose, I'm right behind you, win or lose, forever young, forever young.
I might have some slight editing to do on this one, so it might be a little
Jordan
bit
out. We didn't get a Doherty out reference, Jeremy.
I know. I tried to
expecting,
squeeze it in, but we were already stretching it out.
Ew.
Okay. Well, both those sounded
Please stop.
weird sexual Sona references.
Mm-hmm.
They always left me awkward and smiling.
No, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Thanks for listening to Star Trek Wars.